This is a Think Live Be production.
3, 2, 1.
Good morning.
Good morning. That still catches me off guard a little bit.
Does it?
The original one, which I couldn't tell you what it is now, because now that one's burned into my head. But the original one, as soon as the little stinger thing starts, it like popped in my head, and then this came on, and I was like,
Oh yeah. I get that.
You know what I mean?
Sure. Yeah. You're used to the next thing, and now it's different.
Yeah. My brain hasn't quite caught up.
I hear you. Hello,
everyone.
Hi, everybody.
Thanks for listening to our podcast. I'm going to do the intro right out the gate.
Okay.
So,
Well, we've got some new listeners, so that's probably good.
yeah. So welcome new listeners. Welcome old listeners. Welcome everyone. This is our podcast. It's called Seeking the Best. And I'm Catherine Stelgis. I'm a realtor in the Central Florida area, and I own a small team here. And then Patrick is my husband, and he's also our sound engineer, producer extraordinaire, as we like to call him.
Yeah. Hello.
He does all the things. Whatever I need, he's the man for the job.
Thank you.
He's quite good at everything he does. He's one of those people where you're like,
Oh, come on.
did you?
No, I
Can
mean,
you
come
do
on. I want to hear more.
Can you do this? And he's like, yeah, I can probably do that.
I'll figure it out.
And then sometimes he'll say he can't, and I'm like, yes, you can. And then
It is a double-edged sword, though.
And then the next day he's like, here, does this work? And I'm like, oh my God, that's perfect. Anyways, this is our podcast. We started it in 2020. So lots of back episodes to listen to.
Yep.
If you like listening to people talk about real estate, if it's your thing,
You've come to the right place.
you're in the right place. We have so many episodes, and we just here's the thing. I've been selling houses for 18 years. So I have learned a lot over that time period, and I like to talk about it and figure things out. And ideas and plans are my favorite thing. And Pat has been with me this whole time. We've been together for a really long time. And so he's heard all of it, and he's got all kinds of opinions about things too.
I do.
Even though he's never sold a house directly, he knows probably more than most agents do, simply through osmosis. Yeah, I love that word.
Lots of discussions.
Yeah. So we decided in 2020 to start recording this stuff and see if anybody else wanted to listen.
And they do. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. So yeah, that's our podcast. Welcome. And we've got some other things that we're working on.
Yeah. So we, I guess we'll start with the website, our
Okay.
brand new, spanking new website.
Yeah, we had a website, but it was just basically
It was a WordPress site that didn't really get updated. And, if anybody's out there ever played with WordPress, it's a little wonky, and you got to really kind of know HTML, and updating it can be a pain and all of that stuff. So we were like, let's do this the right way. And, we've got our new theme song, and you guys will hear some new commercials today. And we've got, so our new thumbnail image. And
yeah, we had
So-
some fun with the camera.
yeah, so we have a new thumbnail image, and then so we have a new website. So the website is the same domain. It's on seekingthebest.com, right? What's the nice thing about that? Of course, you can listen to the show there and all of those things, but what's even nicer is the candy bag, which you'll hear Kat in some past episodes kind of mention. We'll put that in the candy bag, and if you don't really pay attention, you don't know necessarily what that is.
In fact, you might be like,
What is she talking about?
She just
She's
misspoke.
insane. Yeah. So why don't you tell them what the candy bag is?
Well, I mean, it's the way that I see it is it's a blog, but it's little pieces from every episode. We talk about a lot of stuff, and an hour long, sometimes longer than an hour episode. There's little things that I want to dig in deeper on. And so, or a little tip here, here's where a link to get more information. And so I'm making it a consistent effort to add to the candy bag so you guys can get those extra little bites of content that, or little extra tips, or hey, I referenced a book, or I referenced a website that I use, or things that I look at. And so it's a little dive into why I use that, and here's how to get there and stuff.
Right. So if
it's little candy bites.
Right. So from this episode moving forward, when the episode that you're listening to drops, you can also go to onseekingthebest.com and go to the candy bag. What are you saying, the same day or the next day?
It's the next day.
The next day.
Yeah.
So on Thursdays.
Yeah.
Okay. So Thursdays.
Yeah.
Okay. So Thursdays. So Thursdays, the whatever she decided she was going to write will be in there. Now, if you don't want to remember, it's too much work to remember, there is a spot right there in the candy bag where you can put in your email address, and we will send you a reminder via email every week to remind you what it is. And it'll be like a little newsletter. There's not with a link back to the candy bag and stuff, so that you can keep track of it. You guys have enough stuff to keep track of. Let us keep track of that for you. Okay, so you'll be able to do that, and then whatever else if I know Catherine, and I think I do, there might be some extra posts added in throughout the year as well. So always good to go back and check.
Don't overpromise.
Overpromise, underdeliver. That's what you do, right?
No, but no. So just to give you an example, the last episode we talked about follow up and getting reviews and getting people to actually respond. And I mentioned a story about, I finally got a response from someone after 8 years.
Right.
And so I actually went back and looked at what was the text message.
Oh, you put it. Okay.
And so I put a little blurb about that, as well as the text message that got the response.
Right. So they work hand in hand, but they also work on their own.
Sure. You could just read the candy bag if you don't feel like listening to an hour, and you're still hopefully, I hope you guys feel this way, you'll still get something out of it for reading that. So it's a quick read, and just giving like a little bit extra.
Cool. So that's that part of the website. And then we've also got a brand new merch section. For those of you guys who have paid attention at all, you'll see we have a brand new logo that we put together in the last month or so, and slowly I've been putting it on to our media and stuff. And right now now we have a merch section with a bunch of t-shirts and tote bags and mugs and some other things and stuff that are not just the logo, but other things that we kind of talk about on the show, and some fun stuff that I designed that you can go on and get and kind of represent the show. And
remember when I said that Patrick can do anything and everything?
Well, I am a designer.
Well, he is a designer.
That is what I do. Yeah.
He's a graphic designer and artist. So he's designed a couple things that are pretty cool.
Yeah. I think we have like 10 different designs, 9 or 10 different designs. And you can kind of put those designs on anything and stuff. And it's all pretty affordable and good quality stuff. So definitely go check that out. Right. And then the last thing is the big one, right? Is the YouTube channel.
Yeah, he's making me record videos.
Don't say it like that.
Well, what I mean,
in fact, there are going to be, and I know because I've looked at analytics already, there are people that are finding us for the first time via YouTube, because the RSS feed of this show is feeding into our brand new YouTube channel. So the brand new YouTube channel is at Seeking the Best Pod, where you can just search Seeking the Best to find it on YouTube and subscribe and follow us there. And you want to tell them what we're doing over there?
Well, yeah. So same kind of thing is there's so much to learn in the real estate industry. And it's sometimes like, because I've been doing this for such a long time, I forget how much there is to learn.
Yeah.
And I'm reminded by like a team member or something, or hiring someone new and just being like, oh my gosh, they don't even know this.
In order to explain this simple thing, I actually have to go back 10 steps and explain the early thing. So Catherine's just talking calculus, but we've got to teach people how to add
Well,
first.
And so this isn't like I mean, it's not. Well, I didn't want it to sound like it's some big educational
It's not.
thing.
Yeah.
It's small videos of simple things that you can implement.
Yeah, we're trying to make all of the videos under 5 minutes. Some of them are 1 minute.
Yeah.
They're little bite-sized chunks of tips.
Yeah, that's the best way to put it. It's tips of things that I've learned over the years that I implemented myself that I've tweaked and found that work.
Right.
I think that's the best way to.
So what? Yeah, I think that's the best way to put it. So maybe for example, one of the videos would be about open houses and getting your leads from open houses. We're gonna dive really deep into that on this show. We're gonna really get in deep. But on the YouTube channel, she's gonna get into one piece of that.
Just one tip that you
One
can
tip
do
that you
like,
can apply. Yeah.
start this weekend. And we're not talking about open houses today.
No.
But in episodes we have talked about all the things that you should know and the things that we've worked on and tweaked to get to the best version of an open house for ourselves. Like you can listen to all those episodes, but the videos are simply like, here's a tip to get people to sign in. Here's a tip to do this. And it's just real quick stuff that you can watch and be like, oh, I'm going to change that tomorrow.
Yeah.
Instead of getting,
It's real actionable kind of tips.
Like I always go to, I like to go to real estate conferences. I listen to real estate podcasts too. And there's so much stuff. It can be really overwhelming. And one of the things that I've always found helpful at like these big conferences is they're like, okay, now just at the end of it, write down like one thing or two things that you're going to go implement. Don't try and do it all. So it's just kind of with that in mind that we give you little pieces, little bites that you can watch and then immediately start trying it out for yourself.
Right.
See if you can make it work for you.
And we're
Make it better. Tell us how you made it better. That would be cool
right.
too.
And they will, yeah, that's the best part is that we can interact with you directly that way. So you guys, that was the other thing about the website. There is also a place on the website now for questions from the web where you can just write your question from the web right there and send it to us instead of having to try to track us down and send an email. You can do everything from the website. But what I was getting at is some of these videos, like one of the ones that's up there now is you talk about your review of a couple different planners that you like to use. So we're going to get into some reviews about different things that you would use in your business and stuff that Kat's tried and what works the best and why and all of those things. Plan is not the plan. What we will be doing is releasing a new video every week on Thursdays. So when you wake up Thursday morning before lead gen starts, that video will be there. So the best way to know about that and to always be connected to us is go to the YouTube channel and subscribe, and then you'll know when things drop.
Yeah, so I hope you enjoy all the new stuff. We're just trying to break it down into little pieces that...
Yeah, I think that's really important, the breaking it down part, because it can be daunting. Oh, it's like, hey, yeah, I heard this podcast. They talk about lead generation. Oh, yeah, which episodes? Well, these 12, and they're all an hour long. It's like, or you can go to the YouTube channel where we've made some really cool videos and break all of that down into small pieces to kind of ease your friends into the podcast a little bit. Because when you open up that podcast feed and see 300 episodes, it can be daunting,
Yeah.
But this is a nice way to kind of get your feet wet if you're new to us.
And I may have just made this up. Can you can you search on YouTube for topics like within the page?
Oh, it's all set up in as playlists right now. So your playlist is going to be like these shorter videos, and then there's another playlist for the RSS feed for the podcast, and then we will add new playlists like reviews, and then all the reviews of different items and stuff will be in that.
Okay. I was just thinking, is there, because I know when I go to listen to a new podcast or check out something new, I always start at the very beginning.
Right.
If it's that many episodes. So I'll just kind of pick something, but it may not be like the best episode, you know?
Yeah.
So-
No, there isn't a way to really do that except you can make like one of your videos featured
Mhm.
and put it at the top.
Okay.
And stuff. So as of right now, you guys, if you're listening to this on the day that we released it, there are 10 videos up there right now.
Yeah.
And then tomorrow, if you're listening to this when it drops, there'll be another one. And you can go to onseekingthebest.com and the candy bag blog will be there for today's episode.
Yeah. And different stuff. Like
Yeah.
the candy bag correlates to the podcast episode.
Yeah.
The videos are just various tips.
Yes.
Like random random order of stream of consciousness.
Yeah. There isn't any rhyme or reason to the order in which they're released.
Yeah.
Right.
But I hope it all helps and we'll continue to try to figure out new and better ways to do things. That's what this is all about, is like, what's the point of doing your job and having a career in business if you're not going to try and figure out how to make it
better,
best?
how to grow it,
Yeah.
what else can we do to make it cool? What else can we do to make it better? And that's what we had such a crazy time in the last few years with, like everybody did with COVID, but then we also moved into a really old new house. And then we also bought a rental property that was 3 properties that had to be completely gutted and renovated. And we bought a house in North Carolina.
Lots of stuff.
So we had a lot of stuff. And I know that we missed, like, there were some times there where we put out 2 episodes of the podcast last month and stuff like that. So, but we did what we preach, which is we've put stuff in the calendar.
Yeah, we figured out a plan
Yes.
that we can implement to make sure that we're consistent with things.
Yes.
So that
because consistency is so important.
Yeah.
Just with everything. You
we're
guys
taking our own advice.
taking our own advice.
Pretty cool.
Yeah. So definitely go check out the website. You can also get to the YouTube site directly from onseekingthebest.com. So I suggest just go there and then you can find everything from that location.
Yeah. Hope you enjoy it. Let us know what you think.
Yeah.
We're going to do today, though, like what we're going to talk about is some questions.
Yeah, we've got some questions from the web, so we're going to do some of those. And I guess we should play that theme song.
Ladies and gentlemen, the question you are about to hear is true. Only the names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Questions from the web. I've been struggling with the conversation to have with potential clients to help them narrow down neighborhoods. We end up spending time, quote, window shopping before eventually figuring out what they want. How do you determine how to filter homes to what they're looking for?
Oh, okay. I was kind of trying to read along
Oh, yeah.
from over here.
Oh, I've got my screen a little bit turned more than where it usually is. And now she's following along with me.
But I wasn't able to. So, okay. So first things first, I just was listening to somebody talk about, not somebody, probably like the most productive buyer's agent that ever lived. Her name's Jen Davis. And I was just listening to a podcast that she was on, and she was talking about, instead of calling it window shopping or shopping, you're not shopping for a home, you're buying a home. And what a difference, if you really think about that language, the difference it makes when you are talking to somebody and you're like, well, let's go shopping for a home versus, all right, let's go buy a home. And so it got me thinking about,
if you're shopping and you don't find anything,
yeah, no
then
big deal.
You don't buy anything.
Right?
If you're going out to buy a home.
Yeah. So
yeah, that makes sense.
It got me thinking about our buyer consultation. And I've been thinking about it anyways, because of all the changes that are happening in the industry, that, we have a very detailed buyer consultation about like everything that person, the buyers, what they are looking for in a house.
Why don't you go over like some of when you say that, like, what do you mean?
Well, first things first, because, okay, let me back up for a second. A lot of agents don't even meet the person at an office or somewhere to hold any kind of consultation or strategy session or whatever you want to call it these days. They just go meet them at a house and then say, yeah, tell me more about what you're looking for. And they give them a few little pieces. Like, I want to
standing in the driveway.
I want a 3-2, this many square feet. We'd love a pool, blah, 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 under 600. Okay, great. Now I know everything that you need, right? And like that is the first mistake of everybody's consultation is that they don't actually have one. So I don't know if this person did or did not because they didn't specify. But when you're saying, how do you narrow down the neighborhoods? Well, it sounds like you didn't have a consultation because if you did, you would have gone through a series of questions to understand where they want to be and really honed in on that location. So when I'm doing a consultation, we're going to ask them those basic questions like budget and bedrooms, bathrooms, square footage, what their needs are in the house. But then I actually pull up the map and we draw out a map of where they want to live. And I do it in the MLS so then I can save that search.
You do it on like a big screen? Is that what you do?
Yeah. So and you can't do this. Well,
in a driveway.
I'm sure you can do it in a driveway, but it's not going to be as impactful as sitting in a table in a business environment.
Sitting at the table in a business environment with that and asking the questions and then whatever else you're going to tell us that you do sets a tone that this is a business transaction that we're doing here and I am working for you. Not, hey, let's just go do some window shopping.
Right.
Let's just go and we'll go look at some houses and see what you like.
Well, window shopping implies
that's so overly casual. I'm
finish.
sorry. It's really overly casual to such a degree that it's like they probably don't think that they're doing anything wrong.
Okay, what I was going to say
Yeah.
is that window shopping implies that you don't know what you want, that you're just kind of casually looking around and maybe something will spark your interest and you'll buy it.
True.
Buying and sitting down and talking about buying a home involves finding out exactly what it is that they need in a home that they intend to purchase. Mm-hmm. And there's a very big difference in that. And so narrowing down the neighborhoods, the easiest way that I've found to do it is that I make them come into the office and then we are looking together at a map and we're drawing out boundaries. And yes, every now and then people's boundary is too big, right? Like it's too large of a search area, or they're like, well, I would consider this location, or I would consider this location.
Do you just say, well, what's your favorite, or which one's the most important to you, or something like that?
Usually, so what I'll do is I'll still write down all of the possibilities, right? Because at this moment in time, when I'm getting all their details, I don't yet 100% know if the right house that they're looking for in their budget is available in the perfect neighborhood, right?
You also don't know why that's important to them.
Yeah, and so
that area or anything.
So I'm going to write down the locations, but then I'm going to go back and say, okay, so these are very different areas. Like, what do you like about this? And why would you want to be in this location? And really try to figure out which one is the most important to them. Also,
when you're bringing somebody into the appointment versus standing in the driveway and you're going to have this conversation, I can already hear agents listening going, well, that sound could be so pushy that you're asking these people that you don't know and blah, blah, blah. Yeah, if you're standing in a driveway and you went and just go open a door for somebody, yes. But when you've set the appointment and you've sent them a follow-up about what this is going to do or what this appointment's going to be and how long it's going to be and what we're going to go over. And then they come in and they sit down and we have this conversation. Now I'm here to help you. I'm here to work for you. I'm here to do all of these things for you. Asking those things doesn't come across as pushy or intrusive or any of that stuff. I'm here to help, right? But if you just met this person and you're like, and you start to get into this stuff standing in a driveway, it's going to come out. I'm sure you feel like it comes off salesy and like you're pushy, of course. Well, because and also, you didn't set yourself up for success.
Let me just also say, let's say you agree to meet somebody to open a door and then you want to have a consultation with them because you want to keep them as clients or secure them as clients. And so you're trying to have this, what should be like an almost hour-long conversation. You're trying to cram it in after they've already seen the house and eliminated it, right? They said, this one's not for us. and then they want to hit the road.
Right.
Like what they were there to do, they're done.
Yeah.
So they're ready to go, and you're trying to
to
ask them questions and secure this client for the next, however long period of time it's going to take to find the house. So that's why it's so important to bring somebody into a professional environment and set the tone. But to narrow down neighborhoods, a map helps. And then if they are still too wide of a search, then you start to ask more questions about, well, so you've named like 5 different locations, and they're all very different. So tell me, which one do you like the most? And why is that one your favorite? And tell me more about that, and digging a little bit deeper on each one. And then what would be the second option? And then typically I'll say, so it depends, right? Like if there's one, let's say they have 5 neighborhoods and there's one house available in each one, but that's fine. Let's go look at all 5, right? But let's say there's 30 houses in all of those neighborhoods. That's too many properties to go look at. You should be able to narrow it down further. And so then you need to understand, like, what would make this the best? What are your top 5 must-haves in this purchase? And they'll start to tell you, and you'll realize that they really want to be in this one place. So let's focus on that first. And then if we can't find a place that fits your needs, but there's 30 options, right, in this scenario. If we can't find a place that fits your needs, then let's go to the second neighborhood choice, because it sounds like, based on everything you've told me, that you want to be in this neighborhood. Is that right? And then they say, yeah, we really would like to be here. Okay, well, let's start there then. Rather than everywhere, let's start here.
Well, it's like, yes, I think you're coming from a position of, the more I know about you, the more I know about what your motivations are, all of those things, the easier it's going to be to find your house. So this person is saying, we're spending time window shopping, and then how do you determine to filter homes to what they're looking for? This is how, right? Is you get into these conversations. So a great example, I just was having this conversation with a client of mine last week, which is, when I go to do a logo, that logo could be anything, right? They have got a company X, they sell whatever, and they want a logo. I could sit there and do 35 different drawings after having, when they say, I want it to be for whatever the product, for soda pop or whatever, and our colors are orange and blue, right? Well, I can make thousands of logos, and I'm going to give them all to this guy, and he's going to look at them and go, no, none of these are right. And I'm going to give myself so much more work to do. But if I would have the conversation, which is the way I do things, where we talk about all kinds of stuff, about why, who, market research, what is it that you're looking for? Who are you trying to appeal to? What other logos do you like that are in the same, that aren't even affiliated with soda pop, right? Like, what we have lots and lots of conversations. I make them send me photographs of other things just so I can kind of get their aesthetic vocabulary. And that means that I only have to do 4 to 5 comps for them to find one that they like. But I'm doing all of the legwork up front. It's way more work to do up front, but it saves hundreds of hours down the road. Well, and this is the exact same thing.
You're helping them.
Oh, yeah. Because it goes so smooth.
Yeah. And so remember, every step of the process, like, buyers don't know what this process is.
Right.
Like, I was in a continuing education class, and it was probably like 4 months ago. And the teacher of the class was saying, what's the one thing that we have that the clients don't understand? And people gave various answers, and he proposed the idea that it's not the price. It's not like what the actual houses are, because they think they can look online and find it, and they think they can find the price and figure that out. It's the process. They don't know what steps to take. They don't know what comes first. They don't know, like, okay, so I want to buy a house. Now what? I just, like, I go on Zillow and the process, then I look at houses, and then what do I do? Do I just click this button?
Right.
And then what happens? Like, what if I like the property? And most agents that are just door openers aren't even going to close at the appointment. So if that person's really interested, they have no idea what to do next.
Right.
So,
and there's a macro process, which is first you put in an offer, then the offer gets accepted. Then after the offer gets accepted, we do inspections. That's not what we're talking about. It's the micro processes,
yeah.
right? The small little things like what Catherine's talking about, where she's broken down so when you sit down with a brand new person and say, this is how we do this. This is how we're going to find the best house for you. We're going to talk and we're going to answer these questions and we're going to look at the map and we're going to do and then you do it. And then you do and there's a million of these micro processes that happen all the way up to the end where you explain everything that you're going to do that day with them. Right. And then you do it and then you move and then they start to trust you more and more. So by the time you get to the point of where you're putting in an offer or where you're negotiating on any sort of fixes that need to happen or anything like that, they're listening to what you're saying because you've been telling them we're going to do this and then you do it. And then we're going to do this and then you do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Let me give you a perfect example that people do not know what the process is. Earlier, not too long ago, we were at lunch and I had a text message from some random person. I have no idea who this person is. And I tried to call them back before we went to lunch because they wanted to see one of our listings. And I tried to call and the phone number just rang. So I texted back and said, you're reaching out to see this or about this property. How can I help you? And they wrote back and said, we're sitting in front of the house. Can somebody open the door? It's like, what?
Right.
You think I'm just sitting in that house? Do you think I'm just sitting there?
You're just going to.
Anyways,
Yeah.
Point being, people have no idea what they're doing.
Yeah.
And so you have to be able to guide them and be that person to help them through the process. But the only way that they know that that's your role and your place is if you meet first in a professional environment and set that tone.
Right.
But let's say you did that and now they've gotten off track because that can happen.
Mm-hmm.
And they think they're just shopping for a home, right? Like they're going to find the right one eventually. And you want to help narrow it down because it's been a few months. That's just a phone call. Like I think people are afraid to have conversations with people because I don't know. They're afraid that they're going to drop them. They're afraid they're going to ask something too personal. I don't know what it is that
people have a lot of look, nobody's thinking about you. When it comes right down to it, like you're putting way too much of this on your shoulders of like people want to be told what to do and they want to trust the person who's telling them what to do. That's all.
So my point though is it's just a phone call to say, hey, you know what? We've looked at X neighborhood, X neighborhood, X neighborhood, X neighborhood, and I want to try to help us find the right place. And so these are all very different areas. So I wanted to get a little bit more insight into what you like about each one and see if we can really narrow this down. So tell me, which of the 5 neighborhoods that we've looked into, which one's your favorite?
Right. I guess. And also you're not coming out of the blue. They know they've seen 30 houses and haven't picked one.
Yeah.
Right. So they're probably a little frustrated and so when you come in to solve the problem, they're going to be appreciative.
Yeah. By the way, people want, like, if they're truly motivated buyers,
right.
They want to find a property. And so if you're offering help to help narrow it down, to help figure out how can we finally make this happen for you, they're going to welcome that conversation.
Yeah, that's what a good agent does, by the way. That's a good agent that's doing that. The bad agent is the one who goes, well, they'll find something eventually.
Just let me know when you see something you like.
When you see something you like, just shoot me a message. Like that's a bad agent that does that. The good agent figures out where the problem is, why they can't find it, and then solves that problem for them. Because if you do that, what's the most important thing that we talk about all the time? Time management, right? If you do that, you will not be spending three days a week looking on MLS, sending them properties, texting back and forth, setting appointments to go see them, driving all the way out there. You won't be doing that. You will be saving so much time just to have these few small conversations.
This is off topic, but I just I suppose it's going down a rabbit hole. He doesn't have that queued up.
You totally got me. I've had to redo a bunch of stuff.
Mr. Rabbit, wait! No.
Okay. So I'm going to get a little ranty for a second.
Sweet.
So there are a lot of different buyers that exist out there, and I'm going to propose that you work with primary homeowners more so than investors. And here's why. There is nothing wrong with working with investors. They're great. They buy multiple properties.
We're investors.
We're investors, yeah. Like, send me some more property. I will probably buy another property before a normal home buyer would. However, they're not home buyers. They're home shoppers. So I'm reading the Millionaire Real Estate Investor book, and I actually haven't read that book before. I've read the MREA book a million times, but not the Millionaire Real Estate Investor book. MREI. And I'm reading that book, and literally the advice given is to just, be a shopper. Right. You're a shopper.
Yeah.
And
you're looking for the deal.
Unless they meet your terms, you're not buying it.
Yeah.
And that's what investors do.
Because you don't have to as an investor. Look, if it doesn't meet my numbers, then I'm moving on.
Yeah.
I'm not in love with your house. I'm not going to raise my family in your house. I'm just looking for a deal.
And so if you think about like
Tough
the
as an
reasons
agent.
that people make decisions, it's all about emotion, and that people move because of family. And so it's all family related, right? It's like you get married, you have kids, you get, you have death in the family. All of those things are all of these emotional reasons. And so investors don't have emotional ties to property. So it's hard to, they are not buyers, right? And if we go back to that example.
Right.
And so it's not that they won't buy. It's not that you can't help them. It's not that they can't help you make tons of money while you help them make tons of money.
It's a different conversation, though.
It's a different conversation.
Yeah, it's
a different process to work with them.
Yeah.
And so why not, if you're just getting started or you have a business now, like, focus on the people who really need and want to move.
It seems like a kind of a catch too, because, it's like, I know enough to know that when you're just starting off, it's like you're going to take a lead wherever you can get one. And a lot of times calling Sphere, calling database, calling, maybe if you're on a team, old buyer leads and stuff, you get somebody on the phone who goes, actually, I was thinking about doing some investing. Send me some properties. And a newer agent goes, I got a lead. Right. And you can fall into, I've just noticed that newer agents, their first few, there's always an investor in that group.
Well, because there's a lot of people who are shopping for homes that are investors, right?
Yeah.
They're always out.
Right.
They're always out there.
So it's real easy.
So they'll come in as a lead, and then you think you've got a buyer.
Right.
But you've got a shopper.
Yeah, you got a shopper. And that doesn't mean they're not going to buy anything. It just means that handling that is a different thing than what we've been talking about.
I just slipped my mind. I was going to say one more thing about that. Darn.
Well, we have to take a break anyway.
Well, it probably won't come back to me, but.
All right, well, let's take a break.
Hi guys, it's me, Catherine. As savvy listeners know, I'm the team owner of the Think Live Be team based in Orlando, Florida. We are always looking for talented, experienced agents who are ready to double or triple their sales. Listeners to this show already know we have the systems and support in place so our agents can plug and play and take their success to the next level. With over 18 years of fine-tuned marketing campaigns and lead generation techniques, we have the very best systems for getting your production to the next level in 90 days. Our agents' main responsibilities consist of lead generation and conversion, showing properties, making offers, and negotiating contracts. If you're ready to take your real estate career to new heights, contact us today at thinklivebe.com/hiring. Hey listeners, it's me, Catherine, your host of Seeking the Best, the podcast. I'm thrilled to bring you the Seeking the Best YouTube channel. Here we'll serve up tidbits, tips, tricks, and hacks in bite-sized videos designed to help you thrive in the fast-paced life as a real estate agent. Need a quick strategy for lead generation or a savvy trick for staying organized? We've got you covered. With powerful insights you can apply right away. No fluff, no fuss, just practical videos that fit into your busy schedule. So whether you're at the office, on the road, or in between showings, our videos are here to give you the edge you need. Just search Seeking the Best on YouTube and subscribe now to join me as we unlock the secrets to being a successful agent.
And we're back.
Hi.
Okay.
You want to get into another question from the web?
Sure. Okay.
I'm ready.
Okay.
I'm ready.
Okay.
I got the answers.
Seller debate. Seller bought a house in 2022 and could sell now and break even, best case scenario, or rent it out for a year, cover the mortgage, and hope the market is in a better position next year.
Okay.
They've already bought another house and moved. So
Okay.
it sounds like they don't need the money for like their next.
So I had a situation, a listing not too long ago. It's sold now, but I met with these people who had bought their house a couple years ago. And let me pause for a moment and say there is a larger than normal population of people who are moving, in 2 or 3 years than there ever have been before, because they bought during a time where they felt rushed to make a decision.
Ah, that's genius.
And well, I didn't come up with, it's
I know.
just stats, but
I didn't really think about that though. I feel stupid for not even considering that.
so they felt rushed to buy a house. And then also for the first time ever, they've doubled what their house is worth. And so
Right.
they actually can move quickly. And they've never really been able to do that. Real estate is a long-term hold thing. It's not supposed to be a ATM machine where you just get out cash whenever you want. But this is one of those times where there happens to be such a large gain in values over the last couple of years that they can take that equity, they can move somewhere else, they can do different things. So back to the question, whether or not they want to hold it and sell when they think it might be a better market next year is kind of the question, right?
Yeah.
So I ran into this situation, and there were 2 things that I talked about with the seller, because ultimately it's not my decision to make for them. It's like, sure, do I want another listing? Of course, but that's not what we're here to do. We're here to guide them on what's going to be the best scenario for them. So 2 things we went over. Number 1, can you actually hold the property, pay your bills, and maybe even make some money? And in my scenario,
You mean in renting?
yes. And in my scenario with the seller, the answer was they'd maybe be breaking even, but maybe be losing money because of their HOA. And if the taxes or insurance went up, they would absolutely be losing money every month to hold the property for another year. And so then the next question is, okay, so what would be the point of that? Because we think that the market, and when I say we, I mean them. I don't necessarily think the market is going to be better, and to what terms? Like what does that even mean? Better in that the prices are better in that there's more buyers shopping, better in that there's less inventory. Like what do you mean? So I think that also helps qualify. Like why would you hold on to a property if you don't need to? Like you can sell and you have a ton of equity because you bought it and it went up, the value went up, 40%. Why would you take the risk to hold it for another year?
And by the way, if you are going to rent it, you're not going to rent it tomorrow. You've got to get it cleaned. You've got to get it up and listed. Then the people who want to rent it might not be able to move in for 30 days, depending on the size of this house, right? If it's a 3-2 and it's a family style house, well, we've got to wait for, we've got to pack our stuff and everything else. So can we move in next month or in 6 weeks? So that's another mortgage payment that you're making. It's like you start to add all of this little stuff up.
Well, so that's what we talked about. So how much could you rent it for? That's the first question you have to see, is how much could you rent it for? Could you even break even? And then the second question is, now what would be the reason for holding off till next year? What would make it a better situation to sell next year versus this year? And understand what the thought process is.
I would
there.
assume that the thought process is we could sell it for more because the market's going to increase the value of our home.
So then you have
this
to.
is in 2022.
Well, and then you
anymore.
have to talk about, okay,
How much?
so if the market were to go up, because we don't know, right? You can't predict the future. If the market were to go up, though, at a normal rate would be 3 to 5%. So let's calculate that. Let's see what that math is and how much more that might be. And usually it's not that much more because, again, the last few years of double-digit gains are not normal. And so 3 to 5% on a pretty average house, well, if they're losing money every month, it doesn't make any sense to take that risk. And so usually those 2 things, when you look at those 2 things, that's going to be the determining factor. But the other thing, and this is probably even more important, but it depends on who you're dealing with. If you got real analytical people, the math is what they want. Like they're going to appreciate all of that math and calculating. But if you have somebody who just is sort of emotionally saying, well, the market seems like it's real slow right now, so maybe we'll just wait until next year. Then understand, like, okay, do they want to be a landlord? Like, what was the intention behind holding the property? If it's just to see if we can make more money in a year, it's like, well, what could you be doing with that money today in a different investment source if you never intended to be a landlord? Or if you want to be a landlord, could you use that money and actually buy multiple properties?
Right. When you know, it's like you get people who move in. I'm assuming you're going to tell them, by the way, I'm selling this house. Would you guys move all your stuff in? But in 9 months, there's going to be a sign out front that says for sale, or we're not going to renew the lease, or you're going to have them move out in a year. Then you're going to have to get the place cleaned by a professional. Then you're going to have to do all the yard work that fell to the wayside and everything else. Then they're moved out. Now you've got an empty house that you had to do a bunch of stuff to. Now we've got to list it and take the photos, right? So now, or whatever. Now, and then it's going to sit off the market for that many months.
Well, so let's
you're
talk
going to
about
lose so much money trying to do. Once again, you don't buy real estate to make a bunch of money really fast. You also don't become a landlord to make a bunch of money really fast. Believe me.
Let me tell you from personal experience.
It takes years to make any money being a landlord.
Well, and so like if we go back to our personal situation, we bought this house in 2021, the house we're living in now.
Yeah.
And we moved out of our other house and we turned that into a rental.
Yeah.
And the reason that we did was not so that we could, hey, let's see if the market is better in a couple of years. Right. Now, did it turn out that way? Yes.
Yes.
But that's not why we did it. We did it because we already owned investment property and we had a very favorable mortgage situation that we could earn cash flow.
Yeah, it made it worth it.
And then after a couple of years, we ultimately decided to sell it. And we made it. Luckily, the market had increased a lot during those years. Yeah. However, it wasn't with the intention of like, let's see what happens. And
no, we
then
just made a good
it.
Business decision. And now was the time.
Well,
right?
we made a decision at that time that it was a good business decision, not speculating
on a year from now.
What will it look like in a year?
Right.
We'll wait because maybe it will be. That's never a good way to make a business decision. And also you need to help them understand that once you bought a new primary home, if you're keeping this to make money, whether it's cash flow from rental or it's equity from holding it, you are now making business decisions about the property. And you don't make business decisions on maybes.
Right.
Like, oh, because you wouldn't buy an investment property. I feel like I had this exact conversation. Like, would you have bought this property as an investment property if you saw these numbers? And if the answer is no, then you probably shouldn't hold it as an investment property either.
Yeah. And
what I mean is like in that scenario that I had, they were going to be losing money.
Well,
and it wasn't a lot, but it's like, why would you do that?
And
for what purpose?
People will also, you're going to lose a lot of money up front too, because you're going to have to do stuff to get the house ready to rent and spend a bunch of money on all the things you have to do to be a landlord at the beginning, getting the HVAC serviced, all of the things that you would have to do. And then when those people move out, you're going to have to do it all again, because even if they're only there a year, it's like it doesn't take much before those baseboards are filthy dirty. And it's like they're renters. They're not there to take care of your equity. They're there to live, and that's what they do. And then they move out. Right. And it's like all of the time and energy it's going to take to repaint, to do all of that stuff. And it's all money out of pocket right off the top. And you still don't know what you're going to get for the house.
Well, yeah, you're
just rolling. I guarantee you're going to have to pay to do all of that stuff. What you're going to get for the house, I have no idea.
Well,
right.
You mentioned a few minutes ago getting it ready after the tenants move out. It's amazing what
that's second nature to me, but I know that people try to sell a house with tenants in it. But
that's also bad advice. Just as a side note, like, selling a house with tenants in it will ultimately lead to making less money when selling every time. And so this is not a question from the web, but this is just a little side advice that I know to be true, is that when a seller wants to sell their property and they don't want to move the tenants out because why? Because they're losing rent, right?
They don't want to pay the mortgage.
They don't want to pay the mortgage without the rent coming in. And I get it. And because it's kind of scary. Well, like, what if it doesn't sell? And then we've lost, potentially 3 months of rental income. And then we've got to go out and find a new tenant. So we're talking about 4 or 5 months potentially in a normal market where we don't have any rental income coming in. And I understand that that's scary. However, calculate that up and say, okay, so here's if the property didn't sell, right? All the evidence suggests that it would, and we're going to price it right and all of this. But if in the worst case scenario, it didn't sell, here's what you would be out. Well, how much less would it sell for if we left the tenant in?
Right.
And didn't clean it up and get it ready for market and have it available to show as quickly as possible?
Yeah, you've got somebody in there who doesn't want to move.
It can be significant losses
Yeah.
by doing it that way. And ultimately, like, that's a business decision too. But helping people see the big picture, if they can afford to pay the mortgage and have it empty, that's the better way to go. If they truly can't afford to, because let's be honest, like, sometimes people get themselves into situations where they physically can't move the tenant out and pay the mortgage. And so then you have to list it with the tenants in. I mean, I'll tell you, like, the few times I've done that, those houses are probably a couple on my one hand that I haven't sold. Because I always say, like, I don't list houses, like, I sell houses, and I can count on one hand the number of expired listings that I have. And probably 1 to 2 of them had tenants in them.
Yeah.
Because it made it impossible.
Yeah, they just go, no, I'm too busy. You can't show the house. And there's nothing you can do about it. You got to get them out. Get them out.
But yeah, that's just a little side.
You can't even like us as investors, like trying to buy a house that has tenants in it already. And sometimes you'll see it in MLS and stuff. They'll say like, "Oh, it's already rented," and it's like that's the last thing I want.
Well, Pat always says it's the last thing he wants, but I actually like some investors want that because then you don't have to worry about doing anything.
Yeah,
but
we buy houses that need a lot of work somehow, so I want to be able to see all the corners of the house, and I can't do that with some guy living there and stacks of cardboard boxes all over the place.
But there is an advantage for an investor to buy a property that already has tenants.
I totally get that.
However,
it's just not our type of investing.
However, think about the pool of buyers that are investors compared to the pool of buyers that are buying as a primary residence. So when you take a listing and you list it with tenants in there, you immediately eliminate, and I'm making up numbers because I don't have them off the top of my head, but probably 75% of the market,
I agree.
You immediately eliminate. And so then you're left with 25% of people who want a deal. So that's what I mean, how you'll lose money.
Yeah.
Not just because it can't be shown easily and that it's dirty and that they don't want to sell it and all those things, but because you physically can't sell it to a primary homeowner because they need to be able to move in 60 days. Because that's what their mortgage is for. Their mortgage is for them to be a primary homeowner, not a landlord.
Right.
I'm like ranting with my fist over here.
I know. Well, it's all true. It's all true.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I think that answered that question.
Yeah. All right. You want to do one more?
No.
We're going to do one more.
No. Can we hold that one for a different time? Do we have to do another one?
No. What do you want to talk about? We got a few minutes.
Well, we don't have to have a few minutes.
You want me to just say that's it? We're done?
We can't do small wins and wrap it up?
Oh my goodness. She's got somewhere to be, I think.
No, the next one could be a little lengthy and I don't want to. I know what the next question is and I don't want to shortchange it.
Stop looking at my computer.
I can see it from over here. I don't want to shortchange the answer. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Slow in. Small win. Kat, you got a small win this week?
So I need to start writing these down because I don't know if I said this last week. So stop me if I did. But we're I'm trying to organize things.
Yes.
Well, I know I talked about organizing, but did I talk about nightstands?
Oh, no.
Okay. So basically what I'm trying to do is each week sort of organize one thing. It's like just like something small. So I started with our downstairs vanity or medicine cabinet. Just organized it with little bins and new supplies, threw out all the expired stuff and little bottles with labels, and it's beautiful. And then I was like, okay, the next week I'm gonna do the upstairs main bathroom medicine cabinet, and I did that one. It looks beautiful. And then I reorganized my like makeup drawer, and then I got this idea like we needed nightstands. We have had the same. Stupid.
This is embarrassing.
It is embarrassing, but I know, like,
Guys, we're put together people.
We're put together people.
But this one thing.
Yeah, we have a beautiful bed. We have a beautiful brass bed that is just gorgeous.
Really nice, true mid-century furniture in there, like dressers, like from like the late 40s that are gorgeous.
Yeah, and then we have these terrible nightstands from IKEA that we've had 15 years?
Yeah, they've been painted twice.
Right. I think when we bought them, they were like Kelly green.
Oh, I thought we did that. Okay, so they've been painted
maybe
once.
we did. I don't know. Were they gray and we painted them green?
I think so.
And then we painted them white. Anyways, they've been with us. They're terrible. They're
not even nightstands. They're like little benches.
Yeah, I don't know what they are because there's no drawers. There's just like they're one open shelf and then it's terrible. And I was like, that's it. We are grown adults. We need legitimate nightstands and with drawers that I can organize things in and a freaking like side table lamp next to the bed.
I know. I said to Catherine, I was like, I think this is my first nightstand ever.
And I said, I think so too, because when I was growing up, I had an old 4-poster bed.
Yeah.
And I had a matching dresser. And I think that dresser sat next to my bed most of my life once I got that big grown up bed. And so I think this is the first time I've had an official nightstand as well.
When you're in your 20s, like I was when I moved to Orlando, and you move every year and a half or 2 years or every year or whatever, you move your bed and maybe a dresser. It's like you're not in the habit of moving nightstands from at least I wasn't, from apartment to house to apartment to house.
Yeah.
So I just never had them. And then we moved in together and you didn't have them and I didn't have them. And we're like, let's go to IKEA. Right.
Yeah. So some 15 years ago, we bought these terrible IKEA nightstands and they've made it this far. And I said, that's it. We are getting real nightstands with drawers that we can put these cords, these terrible cords that are sitting out, these remotes
chargers
and all this crap. And we're going to put it in drawers and it's going to look nice. And so I bought nightstands and then lamps for the tables. And we've only put one up so far.
The other one's going to go
I'm
up
doing
today.
that today.
Yeah, the other one's going to
That one is mine, but I wanted more time to organize with little bins and things.
Right. She's these bins, guys, are driving me insane.
You love it.
And then mine is, I did all of this stuff for the show. You're welcome, everybody. I took all the photos. So when you guys go to the YouTube site, all the photos of Catherine and stuff, I took all of those, designed all of that, edited all the videos together, built the website. No, but I've been working on it for a while now, and we finished everything. So it's all done, and it all looks really good in my opinion, and I'm proud of it.
Awesome.
So guys, go check it out. Hey
guys,
guys,
I appreciate you.
Oh, well, thank you so much. Remember to rate and review us on iTunes and Spotify. It really helps new listeners to find us. If you'd like to send us a question from the web, read Kat's weekly candy bag blog that goes along with today's episode, buy merch, or learn about us, go to onseekingthebest.com.
Oh my goodness.
Subscribe to our YouTube channel at Seeking the Best Pod with new videos dropping every Thursday morning before lead gen. And for Kat and myself, thanks for listening, and we'll figure this all out next week. I promise I'll get better at that.
Oh my gosh, that's long. Okay, bye.
This has been a Think Live Be production.